Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. Congressman, good to have you.
Good evening, Trish.
What's your reaction to all this?
Well, I understand that there are political consequences, but I don't know if the senator is suggesting that the cost of losing an election is to put on the Supreme Court somebody who has serious allegations against him where there are still questions and asterisks on that nomination. I think the responsible thing to do is to put to bed all of those allegations.
Congressman, I hear you on that, but I want to go back to why it is that we didn't know about this earlier. We were just talking with our pollster, Lee, who told us, look, independents are getting fed up with this. They blame both sides. They do not like that it got to this point. They didn't think it was fair to Judge Kavanaugh. They didn't think it was fair to Dr. Ford. And I would tell you it wasn't really fair to the country to see that. And it could have been prevented had the Democrats, who had this information from Dr. Ford, come forward and told our president, so that the process could have been more, I don't know, comprehensive when they did this investigation, so that at least people would have known about this and it wouldn't have had to play out on national TV like it did. How come it didn't?
I hear that concern, and I'll just say this. As someone who worked with sexual assault victims as a prosecutor, every victim comes forward or doesn't come forward at all in a different manner. And I guess I would just ask
But she did come forward. She didn't want to be exposed. She didn't want her identity leaked. She came forward, and it was Dianne Feinstein who knew about this. It was her own congresswoman who knew about this. And let's not forget, Congressman, she tried to alert people, right? She alerted the Washington Post. She alerted her congresswoman's office. She sent a letter. She called. She finally spoke to the receptionist. She was trying to get the word out behind the scenes, and nobody cared. Yeah, well, not until he was named.
People certainly cared, but I would say this. Would you prefer that she never had come forward at all if this was true? I mean, she came forward, and once she did, the past is the past, and we should take her allegations seriously.
You can understand why the Republicans aren't trusting you guys, though, right?
Well, but I would also say this, and I've made this argument to many juries, and you never want to be the defendant on the other side of it. What are the chances that this woman and two other women who have never met each other would come forward with similar allegations? Okay. I mean, that just, it's very unlikely. I mean, it could be that he's the unluckiest person in the world.
I don't know what it could be. I mean, hey, anything, right? Yeah. I mean, when we start speculating like that, it gets off into some wild territory. But I want to ask you about this, because Kamala Harris had basically washed her hands of the whole situation, and I want your reaction. Let's play it for the viewer.
This is a sham what's going on in there right now. Democrats are not being heard. They're pushing through this process, and frankly, the statements yesterday were about bullying fellow senators, and from top to bottom, this has been about bullies.
I should point out that she did storm out of the session. She was done. So when I said she washed her hands of it, she was done, and she got out there and she fed that information to the reporters and the cameras. I would also point out, Congressman, that yesterday she didn't leave a whole lot of time for Dr. Ford to talk. She just spoke and spoke and spoke about how awful this was and how she believed her, and somehow it's all the president's fault. It was grandstanding in a way that, frankly, was not beneficial to anyone, including her. But why is your party being like that right now?
Well, Trish, Kamala and I come from the same district attorney's office. I will say I would have been pretty upset, too, because right before she walked out, they moved to subpoena Mark Judge, the alibi witness for Judge Kavanaugh. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to hear from that person and put him under oath just as you put Dr. Ford under oath. Again, I will just say this, Trish. 27 years ago, when Anita Hill came forward, most people agree that was a disgrace, but 20 witnesses were heard at that hearing. We have actually gone backward when only 2 witnesses are going to be heard, and they're going to put forward the nomination without considering any other evidence.
So you think he's lying?
I wouldn't hire him, but I would certainly look more into this.
I'm sorry, you wouldn't hire him?
This is a job interview. Yeah, this is a job interview. They're advising and consenting, and they're essentially hiring or not hiring Judge Kavanaugh. I'm not determining whether he did this or not. I would just say with this type of corroboration,
but do you think it's fair
I wouldn't hire him.
36 years after something happens, that someone's entire career could potentially be destroyed because of some allegations which nobody has any proof over?
I think the fairest thing for Judge Kavanaugh would be that he took the bench having his name cleared by a thorough FBI investigation. He deserves that.
Thank you, Congressman.
My pleasure.
Good to talk to you.